Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Dream Big, Pray Hard, Never Quit video series. Today, I have with me a former student, Kyle Davis, who was a baseball player at CBA Cock, went on to play at Pitt Community College, and then went to the awesome school of University of Mount Olive. Yeah, I say that because I went there. My wife went there. And one of my daughters went there. So, yeah, we love UMO. Kyle, thank you so much for being part of this. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well, doing well. As we start these interviews, it's really not an interview. I just let you tell your story, then I kind of jump in. Um, so, tell us, kind of from high school into, junior college, going into UMO, and how did you know you wanted to play baseball and your dream, and then kind of where you're going now? And I love doing these interviews with people that kind of just graduated college because, as you know, and other people know, I am a teacher, and I like to give um, upcoming seniors or people going into high school what it's like in college, and then kind of once you graduate from college, what's life like afterwards, and what is life like as an athlete in college, because we hear rumors, we know, you hear stuff, we talk about it, but when someone has lived it and then they can tell other people getting ready to go into it, it's a whole lot better. So, Kyle, I'm going to let you go and tell us your dream big story, bro.
All right. It all started back in high school. I mean, my dad being a baseball coach, I grew up around baseball all the time. But it wasn't really until my junior year when I really found out that I wanted to play baseball at the next level. And I remember the exact time it happened. Just growing up, I was never a person that threw hard, and I was a pitcher. Um, so I never threw hard, and then just one summer going into my junior year, there's this big tournament out in Georgia, and the team I was playing for went to it, and that weekend I topped out at like 86, which back then is okay. It's not the best thing ever, but like it's fine. And that's when I kind of started getting a little interest from schools here and there, like smaller schools, and that's kind of how it all like set the tone of I wanted to play in college. And then from there, it just kind of took off. I was contacting colleges; they were contacting me. Um, but as I started to learn about the college process and like what goes on, and thankfully I have my dad here to help me with that,
Right.
it kind of just set in that I needed to go to a smaller school. I needed to maybe look at the junior college route just because I still wasn't the biggest kid. I still didn't throw the hardest. Um, I just needed to go into somewhere where knew I would play as a freshman and just knew that I was going to be playing with kids my age. So that's what I did, and that's how I got to Pitt. Probably the I'm going to say this about my knowledge too, but probably the best 2 years of my life was going to Pitt. Just the teams that we had both years I was there were super good. The teams got along. Um, Living in Greenville was fun. Just the whole going to junior college was nice. The school part of it wasn't that bad at all, honestly. It honestly was just like another high school, just with
I'm
college.
glad you said that because you know what? I tell a lot of kids like that. I say, look, going to a community college for your first 2 years or something like that is kind of like an extended high school.
Yeah,
Um, and it's good because you don't have these classes like going into ECU your freshman year at biology and 350 people are in your classroom and all you are is a number.
I was about to,
Um,
yeah. Speaking of like a biology class, I had to take one at Pitt, and I think there was 18 or 19 people in it. So I mean, it was super small. The teachers actually, not going to say teachers don't care about you, but they actually care more, and they're like more one on one with you, so you actually
right.
do get the help that you need. So yeah, that happened at Pitt. Just kind of going off of what happened at Pitt, my freshman year, I got there and still wasn't the biggest or threw the hardest. But there was one thing I found out in college was you're gonna play if you can. For me, as a pitcher, to get people out, and I figured that out very quickly. Going into the spring season of my freshman year, I didn't think I was gonna play that much. And then the first weekend, I ended up going in the pitch, and we were down by a lot at the time, so I was kind of eating up innings. And luckily, I did really well. I think I threw probably 4 or 5 innings in relief that day, and we ended up coming back and winning that game. Um, so that really just set the tone for the whole freshman year. I ended up having a really, really good freshman year. I ended up being, I guess you could say, one of the guys out of the bullpen, like first kind of people out of the pen during the weekends. And that team actually, we ended up winning the tournament that we had that spring, and we ended up going to the Junior College World Series out in Oklahoma. So that was a fun experience just coming out of high school,
Oh
being able
yeah.
to do that and play against people that were going to big Division I schools. And we actually did pretty good at the tournament. I think we finished like maybe third or fourth. I can't
Oh, that's
remember.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun thing to do and to be a part of. Um,
Well, what was your balance? And I know you're getting ready to go into your sophomore year, but what was the learning curve of figuring out the balance of school and baseball?
um, Honestly, that was something that I had to work on and to really figure out. I like to time manage myself. I like to not necessarily make a plan each day, but I just like to have things kind of set out of what I got to do. And going back, I mean, like in high school, it was fairly easy. I would either come home from straight from school, go ahead and get my schoolwork done, or go to practice, come home, and both my parents were teachers, so I mean they were kind of on me all the time about it.
Right.
But like going into college, um, it was a lot different. I didn't have to go to school from 8 to 3 all the time. It was you go to class from 9 to 9:50, come home for 2 or 3 hours, go to class again, and so it was a more flexible schedule. So, and most of the time I would try to get my work done just like during the day or trying to get something done before practice. Um, and actually, I had it fairly easy. So at Pitt, from my freshman year of the spring semester until I left Pitt, I had, I think, 1 or 2 classes in person. The rest of the classes I took online. And that was just my personal preference. I
Right.
like doing classes online. So during that time, I mean, during that little stretch that I did that, I mean, I would just wake up, get some work done, then kind of really have whatever else I wanted to do throughout the day until practice. And like I said, Pitt is just, it was like a high school. It wasn't really much work. I mean, I think the most work I had was maybe like a 6 page paper, and that was it. It was very, very, very easy. Um, but going into my sophomore year on the baseball side of things, we had another really good team. Um, just going off of the freshman year that we had, just had a lot of high expectations. And that year kind of took a turn for the worst personally for me in playing. Just after having such a good freshman year, I had high hopes of getting a big Division I offer. I actually started throwing a lot harder at the time. Um, so going into the fall, I just had really big expectations, and I didn't throw well at all that whole entire fall. It honestly looked like I never picked up a baseball before in my life. Um, so getting all these, we're planning on getting all these phone calls. I just didn't receive them,
Right.
and over time it took a toll on me. So I was like, you know what, go home for Christmas break, flush it, come back in the spring, restart, and we'll be fine. Well, I thought I did that, and I came back in the spring. The same situation, just couldn't find the strike zone, really couldn't do anything right. So, I mean, just at the time, nobody was calling. I wasn't really getting any interest to any schools to go play baseball. So, probably about halfway through the sophomore season, I kind of sat there and I was like, well, I'm done in a couple weeks. Like, there's really nothing else I can do. Just because I was playing so bad at the time, and
And it's, I mean, it's that's a key in any sport, but baseball as well, because I mean, you've got to be on top of your game at the right time.
hmm
When you're going into your sophomore year, you're going to be done with Pitt, and you've got to be playing at your best. And you just had a bad year.
yeah, and with that like whole year going on, I started sending applications in to just normal schools to be a student at. And I think we were on spring break that year, and we had games throughout the whole week. But I just had a day where I was able to go watch my dad, Coach Acock, and luckily that day, I don't know if it's going to break NCAA rules, but I don't go to school anymore, so it's okay. Uh, Coach Watt was at the game because his son played for Acock at the time, and I just was talking to him. We had known each other for a really long time. I played with his other son, Mason, in high school. Um,
So let me put something out there for the NCAA if they see this. They were talking as friends. They've known each other for a very, very long time. I know Rob very well, and I know your dad very well. And I know, trust me, no rules were broken. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so just during that time at the game, we got to talking, and he was asking like, "How you been doing?" And I was like, "Well, if you look at my stats, you're not going to see anything really good." And he was just like, "Well, what's going on?" And I was like, "Honestly, I have no idea." And he kind of surprised me and was like, "You know what? I'm going to call you in a couple of days. We're going to set up a visit, and we're going to go from there." And I was like, "Okay." It's kind of shocking. I was like, "All right, sounds good to me." So a couple of days passed. He called, and I went on the visit. And as soon as I got onto the campus, I was like, "Yeah, I think I need to come here, no matter what happens the rest of this year,
Yeah,
just because."
hey, look, it's a great school, and I know
Oh
you
no,
know
it
that
is.
now. I know you know that now, but yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, but he just when I got there, I was like, "Yeah, I need to go here." And in the back of my head, and I mean, my dad went with me. He was just like, "If they're gonna take a shot on you, then I don't think you need to waste any time." And that's, I mean, I didn't waste any time. I went on the visit, and the very next day, I called him back that night, and he was just like, "I want to go there. Like, I don't really care what the offer is. I just let me go there." And so I ended up committing to Mount Olive the very next day, and the literally 3 days later we had a weekend series, and I went in to pitch that game, and everything somehow clicked. I don't know what happened. Um, to this day, I just think it's the level of stress that I was putting on myself, trying to get or trying to be able to play at the next level and just keep playing throughout college. But yeah, it just clicked. When I had my exit meeting a couple weeks ago with Coach Watt, and I told him I was like, I literally like you pretty much saved me playing baseball, just literally asking me to come on a visit. And then yeah, from that weekend on, I mean, I've had my outings where I have pitched very badly, but ever since then, it's just been not looking back, just going ahead and pitching and doing what I'd like to do. And luckily, he gave me that opportunity to do that.
I did want to go because um, we're on the outs of COVID now. We're kind of coming toward the end of it. But when you were going through this, when your last year, um, we were in the middle of COVID, and that season pretty much got canceled, and you were able to play another year. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it was actually so I remember exactly when it happened. My junior year, we had a good year. Everything was good. I did good personally. The team did fairly well. But going into my senior year, the expectations were just through the roof. We had the pitching, we had the hitting, the defense was solid. I mean, it was we were going to make it to Cary and possibly win a national championship type of year. And the whole team had that same feeling. The coaches had the same feeling. Um, and whenever we started that season off, I mean, we went down to Tampa and played Tampa, who was the reigning national champion and the number one team in the nation that year. I mean, we just rolled them. It was, I think we ended up winning like 11-3. Like it was. So after that, we were just like, okay, yeah, this is definitely the year. Um, and then going through the whole season, I think um, when the season ended, we were on spring break. So at the time, we were shoot, I think we were like 22-3 or 4, something like that. I mean, we were
Wow.
really good. Like I think top 5 in most rankings. Like we were just rolling at the time.
Now that's got to be pretty cool to be one of the top schools in the nation,
Hmm.
Division Two, knowing that everyone's looking at you.
Oh yeah, and I mean the same thing. Just jumping ahead, the same thing this past year. We were, I think the highest we got up to this past year was number 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, but going back, I mean, we were on spring break, and during spring break, most of the families, with a lot of us being local, will make dinner for us and feed us throughout the whole week since like the cafeteria and all that's closed.
Right.
Um, so we had I think it was either lunch or dinner, and like at the time, there had already been schools and conferences across the nation like canceling stuff or like just postponing the for a week or two. So we were like,
Right.
there's no way this could happen just because our season had been too good. It just felt like, all right, yeah, this can't happen right now. Like we're rolling. It just nothing. It just doesn't need to happen. And we're all sitting down, um, eating lunch, dinner, whatever it was, and we just see Coach Watt walking down from his office, and like the look on his face, you could just tell something was wrong. So we're sitting there like, you're kidding me. Like we're about to go on a break, and he comes down and he was like, all right, it's not what you think. They're just extending spring break for another week. So we're like, oh, okay, like that's fun. And then 30 minutes later, he gets another phone call and he's like, all right, guys, we're done playing. Like the season's canceled. And we're sitting there like, what? Like it was just a lot to take in at the time just because of,
Everything was going well. I mean, all
yeah,
the work, all the hard work, everything that you've done, everything that you've prepared for it. I mean, this is a dream since childhood. You're getting there, it's happening. And then all of a sudden, it's pulled completely. And that was your year. That was
oh,
the
yeah.
team's year.
And like whenever he told us that at the time, I was like, I just played my last game not even 24 hours ago. And like, I didn't know that. So like, it was just for instance, like this year, I had already played my last game, so like I kind of the whole year I knew it was going to happen at some point. Like I just knew I was going to be done playing, so I kind of had the time to sit back and think about it
Get
and
used to
all
it.
that stuff. Well, yeah, and at the time where the season got canceled, it was just kind of like bam. And I mean, honestly, we're 18 to 23-year-old guys at the time, and you just see us sitting there eating dinner, and like we're all just crying because we're just like, what? Like this can't happen. And it just took a toll on everybody. And luckily, the NCAA finally did something right, giving everybody a year of eligibility back. A lot of us, I think, shoot, last year I think we had like 17 seniors, and I think 11 or 12 of us ended up taking the year that they gave back. And there was guys on the team that were now this past year in their 6th year. I was in my 5th year. So, I mean, as soon as we found out that we were going to get the extra year back, I mean, it was just an obvious decision. Like, okay, yeah, I'm just coming back.
Right.
I knew me and my family, we were going to figure out everything. I knew everything was going to be fine. I just knew that I didn't want to end playing ball that way. So, I mean, yeah, it was nice to be able to come back and play one more year.
And you ended up having a pretty good year this year, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I had some injuries here and there, but I was able to work through them and have a pretty good year. We lost out in the regional. We actually ended up losing out to Wingate, who just won the national championship 2 or 3 days ago. So I
Right.
mean, hats
That was
off.
a good team.
Yeah, hats off to them. It's not like we lost to a terrible team or played bad. They were
Right.
just really, really good. But yeah, this year it was good. We just injuries hurt a lot of us. Uh,
Right.
we had a really, really good year with what we had. We could swing it and we could pitch it. Just unfortunately, we had injuries to some pitchers that were season ending, so it just took a toll on a lot of us at the time. And but we battled. We had a lot of things not go our way this year, and we did really, really good considering the circumstances we were put in, and with all the rules that we had to go through all year with COVID and everything.
Right.
It was the worst thing ever.
I just want to recap college real quick to say you had ups and downs. You persevered through them, um, and you ended up playing 4 years of college baseball, which was your dream. And you went through all the ups and downs, and you just kept going. You're like, you know what? I can do this. I can do it. And I love that. And that's what Dream Big, Pray Hard, Never Quit is about. Not quitting. You had the opportunity after your sophomore year, and you were thinking, all right, this is it, this is it. But God gave you an opportunity, and boom, the next 2 years you're at UMO having a good time, and then all of a sudden, bam, COVID hits, and you're like, are you kidding me? I just played my last game. And then another opportunity comes up. Oh, you mean I get to play another year? You know, that's that takes perseverance, and that's not just a lot. That's a lot emotionally on somebody. Now you're thinking, okay, I'm going to stay an extra year. I could graduate. I can move on and start my life outside of baseball. But it was, what? Hey, I want to do this one more time. Let me end on a better note than COVID. That's awesome. Great
Yeah.
job in persevering and going through that and sticking with it. A lot of people couldn't do that. But what I want to touch on now is, okay, now you graduated. All right. And this is where I want other people to start realizing, okay, you graduated. I mean, everyone's looking at you now. Hey, you're an adult. I mean, you might be a young adult, but you're an adult. So what's it like? What's going on?
Um, well, considering I just moved back home probably 2.5 weeks ago.
Now, I'm
Uh,
sure your mom and dad were really happy with that empty nest and were enjoying their time together. And you moved back home. Are you kidding me? You did
yeah,
that to your parents?
yeah. But I mean,
Guys, I'm joking. Rhonda and Charles, just joking. Don't come at after me.
no, I mean, it's feels the same right now. Mom and dad are kind of getting me off of the whole payroll thing slowly as we go because
Right.
I'm still looking for a job. I don't have one yet. I should hopefully find out in the next week or two. I applied for a sports marketing teaching position at Corinth Holders.
What,
Uh,
they had one open? I didn't know it.
yeah, they have one
I
open.
need to go apply for that.
But yeah, I applied for that. I'm hoping to hear back this week. As of right now, it's looking pretty good, but
Good.
we don't know just yet.
Hey, look, by the way, I've got all my lesson plans and everything.
I'll
So
probably
all those PowerPoints and everything you set through, and I got them. I can send them to you. I've
um,
got your whole year planned out for you already.
or well, then I might be shooting you an email soon, hopefully. But yeah, like as of right now, with me not really having a job yet, they're just kind of allowing me to stay on the payroll. But hopefully, in the next couple weeks, I'm more of an independent person. I don't like spending their money. I don't like
Right.
being on their stuff as much if I can afford other things. So that's really all what I'm doing right now. I graduated in December with a sports marketing degree. And then in January, I started my master's in business administration. So
Good
I did
job.
that.
Good job.
I did the first little trimester thing in the spring. And then I took the summer off just to mainly just because I haven't had a summer
Right.
to
I get
just
it.
relax.
Yep.
I've been playing
You've
summer
been
ball, I've been
playing.
working, so I really just wanted the summer to just chill out and relax. But then starting back in the fall, I'm gonna start back the master's program and hopefully finish it by Christmas. If not, I'll just take 2 classes at a time and finish it by next summer. But I'm looking to finish it at some point. Just don't know when
Good.
it's gonna be.
That's good. I think it's great. Hey, look, I'm going to tell you, I hate to say this to you, but a master's is miserable.
Oh, I know. It-
All you do is write papers, do research, and then when you reference everything, if you have the references wrong, they
Uh,
still count points off. It's like APA crazy.
oh yeah, it was. I was doing writing papers on a bus ride on a in the middle of the week on the way to a game. We would
Yep.
leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd just be up writing a paper because I had to get it done before we left for that weekend. But yeah, it was.
So you got a taste of it. You got a taste of what it's
Masters is
like.
no joke, and that was just in the first 4 entry classes. I've not even really began the whole thing yet.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely whenever someone goes, I'm like, look, go get it, work your way through it. It's gonna suck,
Hmm.
but you can do it. Well, congratulations, man. I'm really proud of you. I mean,
Thank
you've done really, really well. Um, I really hope that job at Corneth goes well for you. So, are you looking? I know you got a sports background. You love sports. What about coaching? Where are we going with that?
basically the whole reason that I applied for the job at Corinth was because of um, one of the baseball positions opened, and I've talked to the baseball coach there, and if I'm lucky enough to get this job, I will be helping him out coaching baseball, and
Good.
I'm being like the pitching coach, I guess you could say. So yeah, I am going to coach. I don't know if I'm going to coach more than one sport, but as of right now, I'll coach just baseball as of right now.
Man, you've done a great job. I've watched you grow up from your freshman year in high school. Extremely proud of you. I mean, you're living the dream. You're exactly what Dream Big, Pray Hard, Never Quit is all about. And you have done a great job. And everyone out there, remember to always dream big, pray hard, never quit.